Hello, mixtresses and mixters. This is mixtressrae. You're watching Mixtress video. It's not going to be in the shot, but I do want you guys to know that we got a Christmas theme going on here. I've got a little tea light candle and a pretty little red holly candle holder. And we do have our, let's actually see if I can zoom up just a tad. So you can see our little Santa flamingo ornament that we have here. I didn't want to put this on the tree because it has no legs and it creeps me out that it has no legs, but if it's just sitting for some reason I can like pretend that it has legs. I just can't see them. Anyway, so I'm doing a comparison today between, this is the yellow box Rider-Waite Smith from the 80s, I believe is when my copy. I was hoping, okay, you guys, I have to bitch about this just for a second. I was hoping to have the full-size Centennial to do this comparison with right now, but I don't, and other things that are on their way to me haven't come yet, but I just have extra time off this week and I miss you guys and I want to talk. So this video is not one that is unique on TarotTube, but I'm just kind of like a little lower functioning this week. But I still want to hang out with you guys, so forgive me for the kind of dumb content, but I'm doing a comparison between a vintage yellow box, a Centennial 10 size, and this third one here is the 100% plastic Rider Tarot deck, which I exclusively got so that I can do readings in the tub. Because every time I take a bath, I want to take a tarot deck with me, and sometimes I do take just like a regular tarot deck, but then I have to be very, very careful so I don't drop the cards in the water. And with this deck, like if a card drops in the water, then hey, that's a card that needs to be a part of my reading. I just pull it out, put it on the edge of the tub, and like this is amazing. Like literally you can submerge cards with this deck. So I'm doing a comparison between these three, and the reason why I don't have the full-size Centennial, first of all, I used to have the full-size Centennial, but I turned it into a tarot wall. I trimmed the cards, and it was the first deck I think I'd ever trimmed, so I didn't really know how to do it correctly, so it's bad. So it just became a little less, it made the deck a little bit less usable, and I now am of the opinion that trimming a Smith Waite is not the best idea because the borders are hand-drawn on the Smith Waite. So you can't really pick a consistent size to cut all the cards down to, or else you are sacrificing more artwork on some of the cards versus not as much on others, and it makes it complicated. So I'm not going to trim a Smith Waite deck really ever again. Okay, that said, like, here's what happened. What happened was, I will show you. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna just move the camera instead of like trying to. Here's the view out of my window. Okay. All right. So I ordered this Pamela Coleman Smith commemorative set used on Amazon Marketplace. So like, I even think the description said something about the box being really beat up, which is fine. I don't care. I was gonna probably recycle the box anyway. But here's what the problem is. You guys might even be able to tell already what the problem is. You see this? You see these? Okay, let me readjust the shot again. Dun, 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 dun. So these, if you can't already tell, like I think the box is probably authentic, but the cards are knockoff cards. Like, first of all, they're super, super beat up and used, which fine. Like if this had been the real deck and it was this beat up and used, like I would have honestly been okay with it, but this is a knockoff. And I mean, the clear way to tell that it's a knockoff is that it's not full size. So I'm really disappointed in that. It came from like half price books or something. So most likely what happened was like somebody sold them a knockoff and they didn't know the difference. Um, it seems obvious to me that like the rest of the set is authentic, but the actual cards are not. So I'm going to be returning that. But yeah, so that's why I don't have the full size Centennial to compare with you guys today, which I was hoping to have when this came in yesterday. But whatever. Anyway, I really just wanted to hang out with you guys. So hopefully you're okay with the fact that this content is not that exciting. um to me, like I'm trying to actually at this moment, I'm kind of trying to talk myself out of, because I really want that new, I think it's called Pamela Coleman Smith's RWS tarot deck, and it's like US Games just put it out, and it's this deck with Pamela Coleman Smith's original titling, because those are like, that's like a requirement for me. I guess I could just flip these over while I'm talking. And it's with that, but it's like really pale colorization. Is this like focusing correctly? It looks like, doesn't it look like a little muddy? Is that better? I think that's better. I think that's better. Okay. So I'm trying to like talk myself out of getting that, because I kind of want a full size Centennial, because this one isn't mine. This one's my Michael's actually. And I've decided I don't really like pocket sized decks. So the only pocket sized deck I think I'm going to keep is my Halloween tarot that comes in a 10, because it's a super cute deck. So it makes sense that it's a cute size, but I think that's probably the only one I'm going to keep. So I'm trying to currently talk myself out of getting both the Centennial and that RWS deck that has the real pale colors, because it's very interesting to me. But yeah, I do miss the Centennial. Like I miss having a full-size Centennial, because I think like the colorization of the Centennial is probably my favorite, and the High Priestess is actually a good example of that for me, because I'm not really into like this tone of blue. This deck actually, like, because it's my bathtub deck, the sort of like garish colors don't really bother me in a bathtub context, because, you know, this deck is basically blacklight reactive. I mean, I don't actually have a blacklight to test that theory literally, but it's just so day glow that and I think this is probably the same color story that you would get. I've never had one, but that you would get with like sort of the modern yellow box that comes out now. It works for a bathtub setting because like you can, like the cards are very easy to see even if all you have is candlelight in your bathroom. So I fully endorse this deck as a bathtub deck. Like I wouldn't, like the cards are very slippy since they're plastic. So like you are going to get cards flying out and into your tub if you are using it as a bathtub deck. But totally fine, because hey, it's not going to get damaged. You know, water just sits on top of this deck. Actually, the first time I used it in the tub, I've done it twice now, cards were just flying out into the tub, and I was pulling them out of the water and slapping them on the side of my on the like ledge on the side of my tub, and it was just, I ended up like taking my towel with me and like afterwards drying off each and every card. So I was a little bit more careful with it the second time I used it, just so I wouldn't have to spend the time to dry off the entire deck. But like I was just being so like blasé with it at first that like, so this deck is just, yeah, it's indestructible, which is nice. But the colorization in this deck is just, in the Centennial, I just miss it. I miss it. I think it's my favorite. It's not hugely different from the vintage one that I have, the vintage yellow box that I have. It's really not as big of a difference from here to here as it is from here to here, you know? And really, honestly, anybody that's doing this kind of thing, comparing different RWSs together, like, yeah, the colors are different. Like, it's very actually obvious on this Lover's card how different the colors are between these three decks. However, you are picking at hairs, you know? You're picking at tiny little hairs. And, like, even though I'm super into, like, the RWS it's my deck. It's my system. And it's hard. It's my deck and it's my system, but, like, you really are just, like, sort of, you know, once you get down to, like, the top 3 drag queens on All Stars or something, RuPaul's Drag Race, like, you're really, really splitting hairs at that point. That's what it is. I said picking hairs before, didn't I? And I was like, that doesn't sound like the phrase. But, like, I don't know. I'm trying to resist because I do not need to have many different versions of the same deck. So these are the only two versions of the deck that I currently have. This one being technically my Michael's deck. But I really want a Centennial, and I kind of want that really pale RWS that looks interesting. It's just a very interesting color story. I would also, like, I kind of like the color story that's happening in the, like, pink Ankh deck, and I used to have that one, but the cardstock was so atrocious that I couldn't stand using it because it, like, crumbled. Like, the edges were, like, crumbling every time I shuffled it, and there would be, like, little bits of paper all over everything, and it was just like, okay, like, even I have a limit when it comes to crappy cardstock. Sorry guys, I'm not really doing a, this is definitely an unfair comparison. The only reason why this comparison is unfair is because I'm just talking too much and not actually flipping the cards. So, okay, this is a good example of, like, one of the things that I look for when, like, you know, in an RWS deck is, and you don't often see it, like, you can only kind of see it on this middle card. So you see how the, like, her little, hello, her little, like, wreath garland thing that's around her waist, it is supposed to be kind of wrapped around the lion too. And you can kind of see that with this card. But you can't see it with this one, and you can't see it with this one. There's really, maybe it's not actually supposed to be that way, but I've seen some decks, like the pink Ankh deck, it's pretty obvious, like, because her little, like, garland thing is, like, kind of blackened in the pink Ankh deck, and you can really see it wrapping around the, I don't know, I just like that. I like the idea that the garland is wrapped around both of them. Whether or not Pamela Coleman Smith meant for it to be that way, I kind of like it. I actually like all 3 of these. As far as the Hermit goes, I like the more brown tones in the Centennial. I actually like this one too because it's a very, like, I don't know, like, not really robin's egg, because robin's egg is lighter than this, but it's kind of a robin's egg blue. And this one, I mean, all these blues are gorgeous because they're not, like, the sort of, like, super bright blues like this. Like, this is why I don't like, in general, the colorization in, like, the newer yellow boxes. But I also don't really love the Centennial's interpretation of this. I don't really love the Wheel of Fortune card in the RWS deck in general, but I really don't like how dirty and muddy it looks in, I don't like any of these, honestly. Just because this, I feel like there's too much going on in this imagery, and I get that there's a lot of different symbolism going on here, but for me, it's just too much. Okay, here's an example of, and I didn't notice this, I was watching, I think it was Anna Astral Lady might be her name. She was comparing the Centennial to, like, a Blushing Fool, which is mostly the same imagery of, mostly the same colorization and cardstock and all that stuff that I've got here, but this is definitely not a Blushing Fool. and it's hard to see. You really can't tell because I'm comparing a smaller card. But in the Centennial, the image is kind of like elongated slightly. So you can actually compare, like you can't do it with this right here, like the width of her crown on like this older 80s deck to the width of the crown on a full-size Centennial. And you can see that her face has been elongated and lengthened. Yeah, so that's kind of an issue for me. I don't love, but it's something that I never would have noticed unless I was comparing them side by side. So I would like to, even though I'm literally doing the thing that I'm about to tell you not to do, I would suggest, just in general, like, if you're a bitch on a budget like me, I really should be spending. I very much live outside my means. My debt to income ratio is so atrocious that, like, in order for me and my Michael to buy a house, we had to have not one but two other more responsible adults co-sign for us because our house is outside of our budget. We shouldn't have bought the most expensive house in the world that we did. It's not at all even close to the most expensive house in the world, obviously, but like for our budget, like, anyway, I'm a little bit financially depressed this week. There's myriad different reasons, but I'm not going to go into it all here. How funny is it that like death is like sort of this neon green and these two cards? It's very hard to even tell that he's green, he or she. He, she, or they is green in the Centennial. I don't know. I think color-wise, I really prefer the Centennial. So I probably am still going to buy it. But I think what I'm going to do is just get the one that's just in the little box. I don't need the extra stuff that comes in the commemorative set. I don't know why I thought I did. I thought I needed to have like the book, the tarot book, since it's like the iconic Arthur Edward Waite tarot, whatever, but I don't think I do need it. I don't love how brown the tower is in the Centennial, but maybe I do, actually. I don't love looking at the tower card no matter what. This is like, seriously, look how fucking bright that is. It's insane. So I posted a video of my bath time reading, or not a video, a picture of my bath time reading on my Instagram last night. And I desaturated the shit out of that picture. I edited the fuck out of it. Because I just didn't like how, I don't like how like bright yellow her hair is. And even like her skin tone, like this is like an aggressive peach tone, isn't it? I don't love it, but yeah, anyway. I had a little moment like, okay, maybe I don't need to buy extra decks, because what I can do is like if I'm posting like a picture of a reading or something on Instagram, I can make the color tones anything I want in the picture. I don't need to actually own that pale RWS, Pamela Coleman Smith's RWS Tarot deck. I don't need to have that because I can make it look like that, which is essentially what I did with the editing that I did to the photo I posted yesterday. Like, there really ain't no reason to have a bunch of different versions of the same imagery. Like, my anti-capitalist heart is, like, trying so hard to not buy more versions of this deck. But at the same time, I want the Centennial, and I want that damn RWS deck. I want them. And this is my attempt, flipping through these decks right here. Like, why do I need a Centennial when Michael has one? And I can just go, you know, take it out of his room anytime I want and play with it. He doesn't care. He doesn't even know. that I have put his deck in order and am using it for a video right now. This looks kind of crappy though, doesn't it? Like the way that they've made the cut, I don't know. Both of these look kind of crappy to me. I just feel like the way that they've aged the Centennial. Look, they're almost like the same size if I hold it up here. I just like it. It looks very intentional. That's what I think I like about the colorization of not only just like the warmer tones, but it just looks so intentional. Look at this. Like normally I love this kind of color, this like sort of deep mustardy color, but it just looks atrocious for some reason. I think it's because it's so smooth looking. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know. If only I were one of those like YouTubers that like people buy things for them off their Amazon list. I could be like, my Amazon list is posted below if you want to buy me a full-size Centennial that isn't a knockoff. But I also kind of hate that shit at the same time. It's like, buy your own fucking shit, bitch. So I always buy my own fucking shit, bitch. But at the same time, I can totally understand, like, if you're gonna be like, I really wanted to bring you guys a video today, but I was like, I don't know if I have the energy to have anything like super interesting to say to you guys today. And I have a Kickstarter deck that is on its way to me right now, but it's not here yet. And I don't, if you're not, sometimes it feels like there's like this pressure on YouTubers. Look how different these three colors are in the background. I definitely prefer this one because I like this graininess. I think I'm just like really into the graininess that's in the background in the Centennial decks. Sometimes I just feel like there's this pressure on, if you're a YouTuber, like, probably that like, unless you're like a drama channel or something, like you're gonna get obscene amounts of views for being a capitalist whore, essentially. Like you're gonna get more views from just like this fucking blue. This fucking blue is just like aggressive, which I absolutely, like I said, do not mind when I'm in the tub because, if all you got is candlelight, you can see this. Like if I could show you right now what it looks like in the nighttime, but I'm not going to wait till nighttime to show you that, but you understand. So like I can totally understand how, I don't know, like if you're going to actually get enough views on YouTube to actually support you with ad revenue and stuff like that, the kind of content that people really do like the most is like unboxings and things like that. And if you're going to have unboxings and things like that, let's move this to like, let's move our little flamingo to the bottom here. Which way do you look the cutest? Yes, aesthetic must be perfect. Then you're gonna have to constantly like buy more and more things if you really want. And obviously, like if I were smart, I could like, I don't know, itemize my taxes and stuff like that. Is that what you call it? What do you call it? I don't know. That thing where you like write off tarot decks. Like technically I probably could write off tarot decks on my taxes because I'm a tarot reader. So like I need to have decks, but I don't understand how that shit works. And that shit like makes me super nervous. Okay. I guess this whole thing is just me admitting to you guys that I live beyond my means. I And I'm sharing it because I know that like some of you guys out there will understand and you're in the same place, and I don't want you to feel bad about yourself if you're broke. If you are broke and you can only afford one of these 3 decks and you're watching this video because you legit want to pick one between these 3, like, here's the tea. This one, 80s yellow box, you can get on eBay for less than $30. This one, Centennial, like this is the 10 size version, so you can actually get this one for like $15 on Amazon. Cardstock is great. If you like this colorization, great option. You can get the full size for, I think I added it to my wish list yesterday on Amazon, so it was $17. $17 for the full size. This one over here, the 100% plastic, I think this one costs maybe $25. It just came out, so like it's a little bit more expensive, but all 3 of these decks are technically pretty affordable. Like the cheapest one is probably the Centennial because it's very readily available. You could get it for less than $20. If you're like looking for a vintage yellow box, it's gonna be a lot more time and effort to like sort through all the shit to find one that's actually vintage. Here's what to look for if you do want to do that. Look for a box that does not have a website listed on it. If you look for a box that doesn't have a website listed on it, it's probably from like mid 90s or before. And I would say you're probably going to get pretty good quality with anything that old. I mean, obviously you can get way deeper into the weeds of like being able to parse out like every little thing, like it's gonna say this if it's from this year to this year on the box, it's gonna say this. But like the main thing that I was looking for, make sure they're showing pictures of the box at all angles and that it doesn't say anything about a website, because if it says something about a website and it's listed as a vintage deck, then you could be like, I don't know if it's vintage. Okay. Sorry, I don't know like where my mind is right now. I just wanted to hang out with you guys. And I'm just in a weird space this week. It's Christmas, honestly. Like because and the end of the year for me is my car insurance. Like we pay our car insurance every 6 months. So car insurance is due for us like July and December, so that's a big expense. Then where I live, we have to pay property taxes there's a lot of car bills. For my car, I have to pay property taxes. My car is pretty old though, so that's not a huge expense, but it's an unexpected expense. And for a person that lives just on the edge of her means, like a month that includes Christmas where you need to buy gifts, obligatory capitalism, where you need to buy gifts for people, and lots of extra car bills, and like I don't know, I'm just like right now I'm having like, you know, that sort of like, oh god, I can't afford my life pressure in the middle of your chest. Been experiencing that this week. Sorry, I don't want to like add anxiety into your world. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here for the opposite. But anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with me today. That's all I'm saying. I'm a little extra at the moment. And okay, here's the thing. I really fantasize about being a person that only needs to have one tarot deck. I'm not that bitch. Obviously, I'm not that bitch, because right now I own, I'm not sure the exact count at the moment. Once all of my decks come to me that are currently in the mail on their way to me, I will have about 25 decks, I think. Maybe give or take 1 or 2, which is fine. Like, it's not excessive, but I also, you know, and if I was being real and like not charging credit cards and not spending money on decks that I should be spending on groceries and shit like that, then I would have, if I were being real to my own personal debt to income ratio, I would probably only have you know, 10 or 15 decks, you know, or if I had the same amount of decks that I have now, I would save up for them and like buy them when I actually practically can afford them. So all I'm saying is, if you're a bitch hanging out right now, I'm not flipping the cards because I actually want to talk about these three, but so let's talk about them and then I'll go back to my ranting. I love the tones in the King of Cups. I love like the sort of like pond scum green going on. So I definitely prefer this, but I like this, and this is a little much. So all I'm saying is, if you're a person like me and you've got a limited budget and you're actually sticking to that budget, unlike me, and you're actually like, you know, hanging out there, feeling a little deprived because you're not buying things for yourself, like, I'm not sure exactly what to say, except I am jealous of you right now, I guess is what it is. If you are successfully like being on budget, not spending too much money on things that you want, then if you are a person that doesn't have a ton of debt, like, good on you. Like, I think that our society is really set up to put us in incredible debt. You know, like, I don't even want to get started on how much I have in student loan debt. I'm sure a lot of you guys watching are in the same boat. It's shitty. And this sort of like obligatory gift giving culture that we have surrounding Christmas is like, oh, you guys, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to like push any certain agenda. I sometimes wish that I could live inside the simplicity anti-capitalist mindset that I like at my core feel like I should be, you know? But in reality, I want things. I'm constantly adding things to wish lists. I'm constantly like buying things that I can't afford. I just charged an obscene amount of money for perfume. And like, I can't really regret it because whenever I receive this perfume in the mail, I'm going to be extremely excited about it. I'm probably going to like do another perfume video for you guys. I'm going to find new favorites that I really, really love. I'm going to probably do a perfume collection video for you guys. It's going to be amazing. I don't kind of understand the whole, what is going on with these two decks? With these two decks, like the skin tone is the same color as the hair, but then there's more hair in the background that's different. Or is that not supposed to be hair? Is that not supposed to be hair back there? Is that not supposed to be hair back there? I don't know. What is happening with that? I don't know. But this one, it makes more sense because the hair is a different color than the skin. And then, I mean, it's still kind of green, whatever's happening in the background. So maybe it's not supposed to be hair. Is it like snakes? What's happening? What is that? You guys understand it? Let me know if you do. I had a little, I probably shouldn't call it a come to Jesus moment because let's be honest, none of my behavior is most likely none of my behavior is going to change. But I just, earlier this week, I was like, oh, fuck. Because I basically, like, when I charged that, like, perfume order to my PayPal, sorry, I'm getting extra personal right now. This is usually stuff that I only relegate to my radio shows. If you're into this, check out the link below to my radio show or become a patron and you can listen to my radio show in podcast format whenever you want. Okay. But I had a little come to Jesus moment earlier this week where I was like, I tried to only have like one like PayPal, you know how you can pay off like something within 6 months on PayPal, interest free. I tried to, like, my rule is that I only have one of those at a time. And I erroneously thought that I didn't have any of those going right now. And that's why I made that perfume order, because I calculated it out. It's like, okay, this is a lot of money I'm going to be spending on perfume, but I can definitely pay this off in 6 months. It's fine. And then I discovered that I was completely lying to myself. Not only did I have another one of those promotional things going, but I have 2 of them already. So this was my third when I thought that it was my first. And I just suddenly started spiraling, like thinking about all the shit that I've done lately, because I've charged like gifts for people for Christmas on my credit card. And like, when I start doing that, like, I'm sure some of you guys can relate. Like, I'm pretty good about like not charging my credit card as a rule. Like, I try to keep my credit card for like emergency purposes, you know what I'm saying? But every once in a while I break the seal, and then it's like for a solid month I'll be charging my credit card for all kinds of shit, because it's like I remembered how easy it is to just do that, to just pretend, how easy it is to just pretend that you have money when you don't have money. Anyway, so this is, I guess I'm making this video to serve as like validation and sort of an I see you to anyone that's having, I'm sure that I'm not the only person right now feeling like a little, like hyperventilating a little bit because of finances around this time of year. So I see you, we're here together, we'll get through it, because you know, money is, I like to try to like remind myself money's fake anyway. It doesn't matter if I ever pay back my student loans, because what difference is it going to make? You know, what difference is it going to make if I have that paid off or not? I'll feel less anxious, sure. But other than that, what does it matter? Who cares? This is one that like, I wish the Centennial would have like done, like, there's supposed to be like a color difference between the leaves that are doing well and the ones that aren't. And you can see that here and here, but sorry, bump the tripod, but you can't see it here. So that's one thing that, like, one instance where the, come on, focus. One instance where I don't prefer the Centennial. Look how long this guy looks, though. I've always like kind of been uncomfortable looking at this image because this guy looks impossibly tall or something. It's the torso. Like, I just feel like he's just as tall waist up as he is waist down, and it disturbs me. I'm sure there are people like that, though. But that's just kind of like Pixie's drawing style. She tends to draw really long torsos. And it's not as evident in like this kind of image, because you can pretend that her waist is wherever you want. But yeah. Sorry if this video is like, I'm feeling like weird about it. Like maybe I shouldn't post it. But obviously if you're seeing this, it means that I decided, fuck it, I'm posting it anyway, which is what I usually do. Because I am autistic, and that is my excuse for everything. Because I like to just like, I don't know, I like to put things out there even if they maybe aren't like totally 100% what someone, like, I call it neurodivergent. You know, I'm one of those bitches. I have a neurodivergent mind. So like, you know, sometimes I say too much, like sometimes I talk too much about, like, I know it's like not socially acceptable to sort of like talk about your finances and things like that, which is part of the reason why, like, I know this is one of those things that like other people are going to tell me I shouldn't be talking about. But I also kind of think we should destigmatize that kind of thinking, because a lot of people all over the world right now are living beyond their means. And our society, the way that it's set up, encourages us to do that. Encourages us to not only do it, but everything reinforces it. You know, like the most popular videos on YouTube are new product reviews, unboxings, our electronics are set to be like obsolete in, you know, a few years. We're expected to buy a new phone, like, you know, every 2-3 years. Things are constantly getting better, and there are reasons to upgrade your shit constantly. And Then there's like Christmas and people's birthdays and like all these different holidays that are centered around buying people shit. And then, just like and credit cards, just the mere existence of credit cards, pretending that you have all the money in the world when you don't. And it stigmatizes people with less money because, you know, like for example, I have had a lot of crazy dental work done in my life due to an accident that happened in second grade. Um, and I've had to get implants on both of my front teeth. So both of my front teeth are implants. And that's an extremely expensive procedure. And it's not something that I could afford. So I had to charge it to something called a care credit, which is like a specific for medical purposes kind of credit card. And it has like, systems where if you pay it off within a year, then it's interest free or whatever, 6 months or a year, you can do different payment options. But of course, I can't ever afford like, like an implant. Just so you guys know, at least where I am, costs like $5,000 to $7,000 all told. So like the monthly payments for that, if you were going to pay it off in a year, is way too much. So I can't afford it. So by the time I pay off this implant that I just got this year, I will have paid way more than it would have initially cost. And that's just how it works. That's how it works with any credit card payments. Like you actually can't afford it, you charge it, and then by the time you pay it off, you've paid off that item times two sometimes, because by the time you pay it off, anyway, you guys know how finances work. Like, I don't know why I'm explaining this, but it's just, I just want you to know right now, if you're a person that hasn't bought people a lot of gifts this year, if you're a person that is really trying to live within a budget and you only have one tarot deck and you're watching people like me that have all these different tarot decks that are showing off all these different tarot decks, I want you to know that you are not missing out. Do I love to have like different tarot decks for different moods and that kind of stuff? Yeah, I do. But you are not missing out. If you have one tarot deck and you really like it and you're learning tarot with that one tarot deck and you're checking out books from the library to learn about tarot and you're watching videos on YouTube to learn about tarot and you're using all the free resources, don't feel less than. You are like, if you are resisting the urge to charge shit to credit cards, you're doing better than I am. And that's incredible. You're not buying in. If you are buying in like me, don't feel bad about it because the system is set up to make you feel bad about it. Like just try to, I guess what I'm trying to say is money isn't real. I can't wait till we're a Star Trek society that doesn't have money anymore. And just take care of yourself. Try not to feel bad if you charged a bunch of money to credit cards. Because if it already happened, it already happened. Try not to feel bad if you haven't done it. If you are, not going to have a bunch of gifts to give your family this year. Like sometimes with me, like I come from a family that we're pretty broke overall. And we tend to like, I come by it honestly. Like the propensity to pretend that we have more money than we do and charge credit cards in order to like lavish each other with gifts on Christmas is a thing in my family. And I've always been lavish with gifts at Christmas time. And sometimes I feel guilty when I have years where I've done better than I did this year, where I don't charge credit cards, I don't spend money I don't have, and then I have barely anything to give my family when they're giving me all kinds of shit, Like sometimes that makes me feel guilty, but it's okay. However you decided to do it, if you're participating in a lot of capitalism this Christmas, or if you're not, either way, you're okay. You're not a bad person. If you're spending too much or spending way less than the people around you because you're trying to stick to a budget, either way, you're okay. Either way, we're going to be all right. As long as we're, being good to other people as much as we possibly can be. Sorry, I'm trying to make this like nice and like inspirational. Um, and I feel like it's not really coming out properly. But anyway, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a great week. My little Christmas flamingo, Santa Flamingo, says, Happy Christmas, Happy Holidays, all of the things. I hope that you are well, and I will see you in the next one.